Hey everybody, I'm here today to show you how to drive an automatic car. This will be a complete tutorial and I will be going over all of the aspects of driving an automatic vehicle. Let's get right to it. As you can see, I have my seatbelt on. The first thing that you want to do is you want to get the key, put it inside of the key holder, and you want to turn and hold it. Let the engine crank. When you hear the engine start, release, just like this. Release. Now I'm going to let the car start up for just a few moments and I'm going to actually start driving. So what you want to do is you want to get the gear selector, which is right over here, and you want to either press the button or hold it to the side and move it into drive because we're moving forward in this video. So we're going to move it into drive. Let's take it. I'm pulling it to the side, bringing it down to drive. You'll notice it goes from park to reverse to neutral to drive. Bring it to drive. If you have the emergency brake engaged, release it and you may begin. I'm going to put my turn signal on and I'll explain all of this in just a few moments and we're going to start moving forward. So I'm slightly pressing the gas pedal. I release the brake pedal and I'm slightly pressing the gas pedal. And on a side note, when I shifted from park into drive, I had my foot held down on the brake pedal. Now, when you are starting to get the car moving, you want to press the gas pedal nice and smoothly. You don't want to mash it down. You want to ease into it. And when you start feeling the acceleration level that you are happy with, then you can hold the gas pedal at that level. So right now, I'm holding the gas pedal at a certain degree because that's giving me the acceleration that I want. If I press it more, I will accelerate more. If I release it, I won't accelerate as much. Now I'm approaching a stop sign up there, so I'm going to press the brake. And once again, I'm not mashing the brake. I'm pressing it nice and easily to stop the car smoothly. Now, if you're in an emergency situation, then of course you should mash the brake. Don't try and stop your car smoothly and risk getting into an accident. But what you need to do is try to use your judgment to press the brake, to judge the stopping distance well enough that you can press the brake nice and smoothly to bring the car to a smooth stop. Now, this is a steering wheel, and I'm pretty sure you knew that, but let me explain some things about the steering wheel. What we have here is a steering wheel, okay? Some people hold it like this, some people hold it like this. I would recommend getting your hands, look at the middle of the steering wheel, bring them down equally on each side. That's where you want to hold the steering wheel. It doesn't matter if you hold it a little bit higher, a little bit lower, equidistant from the center of the steering wheel, from the top center of the steering wheel. You want a nice firm grip on the steering wheel, but don't have this crazy grip on it. Just have a nice firm grip on it so that you have control over the car. Now you'll notice that I'm making micro adjustments as I drive, meaning in order to stay straight and centered in a lane, you need to make micro adjustments as you drive. You don't want to hold the steering wheel in one spot and never make any adjustments because then you will end up likely going on an angle to the left or to the right. So you want to make those micro adjustments. Now, speaking about staying centered in the lane, in order to stay centered in the lane, you don't want to look at the car in front of you. You want to look far ahead in that lane. And once again, keep a firm grip on the steering wheel. Make sure your hands are equally spaced apart from the top center of the steering wheel and make those micro adjustments. And with those three key factors, you can keep the car centered in the lane as you drive. And you will not be swerving to the left, to the right. You will not be overcompensating or making hard adjustments. You will just be making micro adjustments. The next thing I want to talk about are the things around the steering wheel. If you look to the left of your steering wheel, and this is on most cars, not every car has these levers and gadgets in these spots, but most cars do. If you look to the left of your steering wheel, there's a lever. It is a turn signal lever. It controls the turn signals, the indicators. Now, the cool thing about holding the steering wheel right here is that you have access to both levers. Now, speaking about the one on the left, continuing with the one on the left, if you press it up, it will turn the right turn signal on. So I'm going to turn it on right now, just like that. I'm going to press it to the middle again to turn off the signal. If you press it down, it will turn the left turn signal on. Okay, so that's basically on your left. Now, most cars will also have the headlight controls on that lever right there. So for the headlight controls, for the most part, you're going to turn the end of the lever to turn the headlights on or off or set them to automatic mode. And if you want to use your high beams, you're either going to press the lever out to constantly keep your high beams on, or you're going to just sort of flick it back like that, and that will flick your high beams. Boom, boom. Just quick little on and off, just like that. Now the lever to the right of your steering wheel will most of the time control your windshield wipers and windshield wiper fluid. It's really easy to operate. The instructions are actually right on it. But for the most part, if you pull it towards you, it's going to let some windshield wiper fluid, it's going to spray it onto your windshield like that. The windshield wipers will turn on. And if you want to continue to use the windshield wipers, if it's raining, you can push it down like that or hold it up. And the instructions will be right on there. Now, most cars allow you to hold it up just to use them for the time being, or press it down with different variations of whether it's going to be an automatic mode or intermittent or fast or slow. It all depends on the car, but the instructions should be right on the lever. You'll see the different modes for wherever you want to place the windshield wiper lever. You have something in the center of your steering wheel or little buttons on the side. That's your horn, okay? I believe that there are two types of honks. The first type is a nice, easy, quick honk, just like that. That is, in my opinion, the honk that you use to alert other drivers about something minor. You have a flat tire, your gas cap is open, your trunk is open, look, the light is green, whatever you need to let them know, okay? The other honk is when you press and hold down the horn, and I'm not going to do that because there's a lot of cars around. I don't want anyone to think that anything is wrong. And that's when there's something serious that you want to alert the other driver or pedestrian about. For that one, you're going to press and hold it down. The horn's going to go beep, just like that, okay? So those are basically the two types of honks. Now, on your steering wheel, there will also likely be a cruise control buttons to control the cruise control. They're pretty easy to operate. Check your owner's manual for that. It's pretty straightforward. I've actually done a whole separate video on the cruise control buttons and functions and how they work. And then you might have some volume controls, some radio controls, some Bluetooth controls on the other side, like this Mazda 3 does as well. Now, with regards to actually turning, and I'll be able to demonstrate this in just a few moments, hopefully, if I approach a turn. With regards to turning, like I said, when you're just driving on the street and you want to stay centered in the lane, you want to make your micro adjustments just like that, okay? When you want to actually turn the vehicle, your goal should be to judge the turn and estimate the turn in a way that allows you to turn the steering wheel to a certain degree, hold it there throughout the turn, and then release the steering wheel and allow it to turn back when you have completed the turn, excuse me. Now, if you are oversteering, that means that if you only need to turn it this much, you're turning it much more. And what's going to happen is you're going to steer too sharp into the turn. If you're understeering, that means you're going to steer too little and you might go into the curb. So you need to practice your steering to judge it properly. Now, my rule of thumb is that the majority of turns will use somewhere in between 25% and 50% of the steering wheel being turned. So if I'm making a right-hand turn, and I'm going at a regular speed, I would have to turn it something like that, give or take. And I'm just going to keep moving straight right now. I don't know if I'll have an opportunity to show you a turn, but I'm going to do my best. Let's get into the right-hand lane. Let's see if we can make an opportunity. Because when you're driving, if opportunities don't arise, you create them. All right? That's a little bit of motivation for you as well. I apologize about the camera moving around. I might have to fix it in just a few moments. So we're driving right here. I'm going to try and approach a turn, and you'll notice that what I'm going to do is I'm going to let my foot off the gas pedal. I'm going to start to apply the brake, and I'm going to slow the car down, and the goal is to slow the car down to a speed that will allow me to make the turn safely. That's the goal right there. So I have a turn up here. I'm pressing the brake. Is this a turn? Yes. I'm putting the right signal on. Now watch as I make this turn. Watch how much I turn the steering wheel and watch how I hold it, okay? We're turning the steering wheel. I'm holding it. That was a sharp turn, and I release. And now I drive straight. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn into this parking lot to just give you a brief idea about reversing, okay? And I'll fix the camera as well. Putting my right signal on. We're turning into the parking lot. Release. Just like that. Just like that. Okay, so I'm going to turn into this parking spot right over here. Let's put my signal on. We'll turn into the parking spot right here. Okay. Now, sometimes I make turns with one hand. That's completely fine. But when you reverse, let's just fix this camera. There we go. I think we're good. Oh, let's tighten it up. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, we're good to go. Now it's really dark. I apologize. It's really not what I wanted to happen. Okay, we're back. Okay, now to put it into reverse, I'm going to take the gear selector. That's so bright. Wow. So bright. I'm really sorry. This is not what I'm... There we go. Good enough. Take the gear selector, move it to reverse. Now, when you reverse the car, you want to turn your head around completely, look out that rear windshield, check all of your mirrors, start to reverse, and you want to turn your steering wheel. Now, if I was parked beside another car, I would not turn my steering wheel this much, because when you reverse and you turn your steering wheel, what's going to happen is your front end is actually going to swing out. And if you're parked too close to another car, if your front end swings out, then you actually have the risk, you run the risk of actually damaging that car and your own vehicle. So now I'm going to put my left turn signal on. We'll turn out of this parking lot, and then I will tell you some other things about reversing. Now, when people are reversing, most people tend to think that if you turn the steering wheel right, okay, the back of the car is going to go left because you're in reverse. Things are backwards. Well, that's son, I'm sorry. But it's actually the reverse. If I'm reversing and I turn my steering wheel to the right, what's going to happen is the back of the car is going to also go to the right. So if I'm turning my steering wheel to the passenger side, the back of the vehicle will be led to the passenger side, okay? So that's, and if the same thing with the exact opposite. If I'm reversing out and I turn my steering wheel to the left, the back of the vehicle will head to the left, which is the driver's side. I'm going to make this turn right here. Now, another thing to note, following distance, okay? When you are driving your vehicle, you're going to likely be behind another car. You don't want to follow too closely. You really don't want to, because what's going to happen is, if they press their brakes hard, you're going to have to mash your brakes, run the risk of damaging your car, damaging their car, damaging yourselves as people, causing an accident, putting everyone in a dangerous situation. So with that being said, keep a good following distance. Now, it all depends on the speed that you're driving at, but there are good following distance rules. I would say your following distance timeline should be between 2 and 3 seconds, okay? So what that means is that I'm looking in front of me. The truck is going to pass this pole, and I'm going to count from when the truck passes the pole. At least 2 to 3 seconds should pass before I pass the pole. You want to use an object as a judgment, and then you're going to wait the amount of seconds and make sure that you don't pass that object within that time frame after the other vehicle passes the object. So once again, I'm looking at the truck in front of me. The truck is passing this set of lights, and it passed it 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half, and I passed the set of lights. So with that being said, you have to use your judgment, okay? Don't follow too closely. The faster that you go, the faster that you're driving, the more distance that you need to keep, because at higher speeds, there are longer braking distances. So your stopping distance is much higher when you're traveling at 120 kilometers an hour than when you're traveling at 40 kilometers an hour. So with that being said, you have to incorporate it. Remember, driving safety is the #1 thing when you're driving. A lot of people want to look cool. A lot of people want to have these cool maneuvers. Safety is your #1 concern when you are driving. Holding 2 hands on the steering wheel, like I told you right there. Keeping your eyes up ahead of you to stay centered in the lane. Not being distracted while you're driving is unbelievably important. Try and stay as undistracted as possible, okay? Making turns, reversing, I've gone over all of the things here. You have your radio controls here. You will likely have your climate controls here. Now, I would recommend getting fully acquainted with a vehicle before you drive it. And that's because I recently just bought a brand new Honda CR-V. And when I first drove that Honda CR-V, I didn't really know where everything was. And I drove a Honda Civic before, and things were in different spots. You'd think that because it's the same manufacturer, I'd know where everything was, but things were in different spots because it was a different vehicle and it was much newer than my Honda Civic. And what happens is, instead of focusing on the road, you end up focusing on doing things in front of you, which is not what you want to do. Definitely a no-no. So with that being said, get acquainted to your vehicle. Now, if you're starting to drive, whether you're a new driver or whether you are just getting your new vehicle, practice in a parking lot. Practice on a street that has virtually no traffic during the non-peak hours. I mean, don't go driving during rush hour if you're uncomfortable driving. Now, with regards to fear of driving, because if you're watching this video to learn how to drive, you might have a slight fear of driving, so I want to incorporate it in the vehicle as well. I would advise you to not have anxiety or fear of driving at all, because the things that you're thinking about are highly, highly unlikely situations. And with that being said, if you remain safe while you're driving, there's an unbelievably low chance that anything significant that you're imagining will actually happen. okay? A very extremely low chance. And the more safely that you drive, the better that your chances will be of not getting into an accident. I do understand that accidents can happen and other people can cause accidents too, but if you're paying attention to the road, you stand a good chance at avoiding many of those accidents that we imagine when we have driving fear or driving anxiety. I'm going to put my turn signal on. Another thing I want to talk about, checking your blind spot, okay? So when you are changing lanes, okay, it's a very important thing because we change lanes all the time. And when you are making a turn, whenever you are basically redirecting your vehicle, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you check your blind spot. So put your signal on and you'll look in your mirror to see what's going on beside and behind your car. Now, when you look in your mirror, what you'll end up seeing are the sides of your vehicle and behind your car. But there's actually a small blind spot that your vehicle has, okay? And I always recommend doing this on both sides, the driver's side and the passenger side. Some people only do it with one. I always do it with both. So the blind spot is basically the spot between, there's an area that you can see when you look in your mirrors, and then there's an area that you can see right sort of in front of you over here. Your blind spot is between those two areas. So if I'm making a left-hand turn here, I check my mirror and I look over here. I can see out the window here. I can see behind my car. There's a little spot, a decent-sized spot between those two sections. That's your blind spot on both sides. Those are your blind spots. So if you don't check your blind spot, you're going to look in your mirror, say, okay, there's no car there, there's no pedestrian, no obstruction. Then you're going to check out the window. You're going to say, I also don't see anything. You're going to think there's nothing there, and there might be a whole vehicle in your blind spot. Your blind spot is large enough that, I'm checking it right now, it's automatic, right? Your blind spot is large enough that a whole vehicle can actually fit inside of it. So with that being said, you really, really, really should try to check your blind spot with every single time that you redirect your vehicle. It is absolutely crucial and important. And I believe that I've gone over every aspect of driving. I haven't gone over parking, but that's a whole video in itself, and I've done many videos on parking. But this has been I would call it a complete tutorial, because I've sort of taken you from start to finish with regards to starting the car, getting it going, driving safely, maneuvering, as well as some simple tips that I've come up with. Now, with all of that being said, safety once again should be your number one concern. I do apologize for the sun shining in the camera, for the single camera angle. It's just the way that I do things. I'm resourceful, I get stuff done. So with that being said, I wanted to bring you the best video that I could, while still giving you the most simplistic video that I can give you. And that's basically it. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you watched it all the way till now, I really thank you for your viewership. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe for more car videos like this. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.